Greetings! I wanted to do a little show on the old Enneagram, and I've got here J G Bennett's book on Enneagram studies. And I wanted to do this because I had lots of people asking about esoteric and exoteric groups. So I thought I'd do it from Bennett's, what he has to say from the Enneagram studies on groups, esoteric, mesoteric, and the old exoteric. So I'm here at the Transformation of Man chapter. We've got here the Enneagram. So he's talking about, we've got the 3 different parts. Exoteric, in the beginning stages of the Enneagram, how one starts off and one moves around to becoming more involved, and then going to the esoteric, which we'll come to in a moment. But he says here, in this, let me stay on this so I can read it. We call the first the exoteric stage, the second the mesoteric, and the third the esoteric. In the exoteric stage, nothing really happens to the seeker. Point 1, the note ray, is concerned with the what, that is, just the acquiring of knowledge. It is the kind of thing that happens when people read books or when they come and are taught things but have not yet really begun to involve themselves. It is really teaching on the outside. And this is something I do say to everyone. Read books, go back to the source, learn from the beginning, where everything has come from. Nothing wrong with books, I say. But at the same time, we also need to implement what we learn from the books and start implementing it into our lives, which is then the next stage. And he says the second stage, this is Bennett now, the second stage occurs when they are taught how to do it, when they begin to discriminate and are shown what to do and when. This is why you have in this case the 1-4-2. Point 4 represents the stage when the work is beginning to enter into people and something actually happens to them, when they are no longer experimenting or trying things, but have committed themselves to letting something happen to them. And this is something I've been trying to explain in my shows. I don't do it very well, which is why I always go back to the sources and just quote from the people that do know what it really means. But we can read as many books as we want, but are we implementing it into our lives? Are we being involved? And I know he says here it's being taught. He's emphasizing having a teacher here. Not many of us can find a teacher, so we need to study for ourselves, but also use that work. Go out into the world and be aware of yourself, as I've said before of in other shows, of what happens to you when you're outside. How are you reacting to people, or are you acting? If you're reacting, why are you reacting? What's pressing your buttons to make you react? What is it that you want to do? And he goes on to say, right, hold on, where am I? I've just lost my page. That is why, from the point of view of the overseer, the master, the teacher, or whoever it is, the thing is looked at in the order 1-4-2. So you've got the old 1-1-4-2. From the point of view of the process, it goes 1-2, and then comes the real entry. Entry to the school comes when there is an action involvement. This helps to explain the saying that work does not begin on the level of ordinary life, that something has to happen before it can begin. And I want to go back to the idea of, okay, maybe we can't find the schools, so we need to do it ourselves. And I am a strong believer that we can do it by ourselves, but encouraging each other through being a group. Okay, we're all split up around the world and we're watching online things, but it is a way forward of doing this. We can help each other. We can also learn from seeing how other people are acting in the world. And I'm a strong believer in that we need representatives and we need people to look up to. Quite difficult to find in this day and age, so we need to look for people maybe in the past, like the Buddha, Christ, Gurdjieff himself, though some people do like to get into debates with me about what he was up to, but we don't really understand what he was doing in his teaching or why he did certain things certain ways. So we have to think for ourselves in this, work for ourselves, be ourselves as much as we can. You know, once we start implementing the work, after reading about it, things start changing in one. And it's kind of hard to explain in words because it's more of an experience. So, you know, don't give up on this, but don't just read books. Use it. So I was going to go now to the third level. Let me just... well, I might as well just read the whole thing, but I know he's talking about schools here. You do not enter into school merely by being there and hearing and learning. You are in the school when the action begins in you, when you begin to have dead leaves cut away, surplus fat removed, and all the things that the cooks do when the meal is being got ready. Because Bennett uses the kitchen analogy a lot in describing the Enneagram, how we have our ingredients and the recipe, making it happen, and then developing it into the food that we want. Now, with this third stage, once we started getting involved and start doing the work, things change in us. Old versions of us die. Old eyes die off. Maybe they die off is the wrong word, but they stop being in control or in charge. They start, because you've got deputy steward comes out and starts collecting your eyes together to make them do the work. And we've said before about how different eyes don't want to do the work, they do fight it. So it's like your old self is dying to self, because you're coming through with the real essence that you are, is getting ready to come through. Your deputy steward's gathering together all them different eyes, the different versions of yourself that we have. And I know many people would find that quite weird to contemplate that there's lots of different eyes in ourselves, but have a look at yourself throughout the day, or go back and look at read the passage from Gurdjieff. I put it up online about how, you know, we start off in the morning in a good mood, but something goes wrong, so it puts us in a bit of a bad mood, and we go out and trip over or something, it puts us in a worse mood, and then some pretty person waves at us and makes us happy again, blah, blah, blah. These are all different versions of ourselves being affected. You know, when you go to work, you've got your work eye. When you're with your friends, you're a different person to who you are when you're at work, blah, blah, blah. Nothing wrong with them living in, you know, the mechanical world, but living in the real world, we want our real eye to come through. So this dying to self is letting them old versions of ourselves, I would like to think they transform, as he says. Bennett says this chapter is called The Transformation of Man. They transform and you become reborn. And it's like a new version of yourself, faster, stronger, you know, bionic and all that. You know, you have a purpose, and your purpose is being awake, which is what you're aiming at. It's an alchemical process, and the Enneagram here is helping us see how that works. Now, just give me one moment. I just want to change to another page, because I love all this when they put the Enneagram to certain prayers. I do recommend this book if you can get hold of it. Right, one moment. Sorry, I'm being slow. Pages aren't going to where I want them to. So we might be the alchemist. We're not changing metal to gold. We're changing ourselves. So here we go. So the different points of the Enneagram. And at the top, blessed are ye when men shall revile you. Because people don't like it when people awaken. They will try and stop you. Blessed are the poor in spirit. Blessed are they that mourn. Blessed are the meek. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness. Blessed are the merciful. Blessed are the pure in heart. Blessed are the peacemakers. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake. Which is what I was just saying. People don't like it when people wake up, because I think deep down they want to wake up, but they don't know how, and at the same time they don't want to. So we're going from being the earthly body, finding God, the God within, and becoming man perfected. And as I've said in other videos, our connection to God, I believe, is through the conscience, and I think this is what Gurdjieff's telling us as well. Let me just see if I can find the other one that I wanted to do. Sorry, holding everybody up. Must be quite boring, flicking through, going, oh, I want to read this book. And so you should. You should all get this book. It's fantastic. Well, he did another one. Here we go. It's right at the back. The Enneagram of the Lord's Prayer. I think this is a very vital prayer. And I know many people, oh, it's all Christian. Well, actually, it's older than that. Akhenaten, the Egyptian pharaoh, had one very like it. So we start off at the top. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those that trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. So as you can see, these are all different points on the Enneagram, and the Enneagram's constantly moving, and we want to flow with it rather than against it. And for many of you who don't know this, this is why you might see many people's, like for example on my channel, I'm DJ Elliot. Let me just look with my finger. DJ Elliot 142857. We're all attaining to come to this. So that's the end of my little Perfected Man Enneagram study. I recommend the book, and hopefully this will help people in their development. And remember that all these are parts of helping us develop, and even this prayer will help us develop. Remember to forgive, because forgiveness changes substances within us. Don't be tempted by the evil one. Stay on the right path and find God, and nothing else matters. Whether it's God, Goddess, or whatever it is to you, the divine source is where we're heading. Thank you for watching.